Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be kicking off a brand new series on a game called Humankind. Those of you familiar with the Civilization series, this is pretty much an exact clone of that, but with some key differences. And for those of you that aren't familiar, Humankind is essentially a turn-based strategy game which is resource management and city building. And essentially you'll start off in maybe 8,000, 10,000 BC with just a group of settlers or hunters, and essentially you will grow cities, develop land, expand your territory and build more and more troops as you advance through the ages by gathering resources and technologies. So you will start off with the bare minimum and you will work your way up to the modern day and age and era, and your ultimate goal is to ascend your civilization, your city and your people to space, to the stars. And essentially the first people to do this win the game. But there are also other ways of winning, like going to war with other factions and beating them, or, well, there are many other ways. It is an immense game. There are loads and loads of different options. I think there are about 7 or 8 different difficulties that you can do this on. You can make it very quick paced, or you can make it incredibly slow paced, so each turn only passes by a small amount of time, which then makes the technologies take a lot longer. And the way that, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But essentially, yeah, so you will progress through this game, you will make your civilizations. This one is it's brand new, this Humankind, but it does have a lot of similarities to Civilization and a lot of features which I think personally are better. Now, I've only done the tutorial. I've only done about 20 turns in of the game, so you guys are going to be learning about this just as much as me. I've only looked at the bare basics of this game. I've not progressed very far at all. I didn't even meet another civilization. So everything is going to be as new to me as it is to you. I just wanted to get a little bit familiarised with the gameplay itself. So we're going to be jumping in a second to a brand new campaign of this. It's also a link for this game, if you like it, will be down in the description below. But yeah, it's an absolutely phenomenal game. It looks really good. It's pretty new. And yeah, like I said, for those of you that enjoy the Civilization franchise, which I did myself, spent a lot of time playing through those ones, and I just thought they were a great game. Different kind of strategy and city building, but just fantastic to play. And you could really spend a lot of time just doing whatever you want, really. So yeah, we're going to jump into this. Now, first things first, you create your own little avatar. And I haven't really had a look at this properly, but you can pick some strengths and biases, which I've gone ahead and clicked here, but I'm not sure if this is going to affect the in-game or not yet. I'm going to have a look at that later on. But we have these things here, which if they do affect the in-game for us, then it's worth knowing. So we have potentially a minus 20% on unit production cost, and a plus 1% construction industry on all makers' quarters, which we'll get into in the actual game, because these are districts that you can create, which I'll explain more about later. And then we've got some other things, but I think these are essentially, so I think other people can use your AI persona in their games, so I think when you select these, it affects how your character is going to play in their game rather than in your game. So I'm not 100% sure if this is going to affect us at all. Possibly might, possibly won't. But we'll have a look and see if it comes up, maybe not. But that is my avatar there. Obviously looks very much like me. Just kidding. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to jump in, new game. We are going to have the big map, but we're going to play at a normal pace. And like I said, loads of different difficulties. You've got 7 different difficulties here. We're going to just go on the normal for now, as we haven't played this one before. As I think, from what I remember on the Civilization games, the difficulty does jump up rather massively, and that one would just be chaos, incredibly difficult to do. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead, huge, normal pace. I think we've got a handful of competitors. As we're going on huge, we should probably add a couple more there. So these will be all of the other civilizations in the game, but we don't know which factions they're going to pick yet, or which actual civilizations they're going to choose. We can also edit the settings for each of these guys and choose how they're going to play in the game, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to let the game do the default and decide that for us. So let's go ahead and jump into it and start here.
Our universe contains infinite stories, most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum. Rather boring. However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look. It's your story. But the first 4 billion years or so mostly concern amino acids. Not much of a page turner. But then, over time, the amino acids bond together and things start to get interesting and a bit drier. A certain subspecies of hominid discovers that you can do more with a sharp rock than annoy your little brother. Tools and weapons are invented. The hominids begin to cooperate. Fire becomes a servant rather than an unpredictable force of nature. They learn to tan the skins of animals for clothing. They learn ways to record and probably exaggerate their adventures. Eventually, these tribes learn to build shelters and immediately hold the first barbecue parties. This is the dawn of humankind. Struggle and cooperation have been rewarded. The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world beckons. This tribe has come far, but the rest of their story is your story. You are the one who will build them into a great civilization. How far will you push humankind? Here is where it begins. The future that you carve through force of will and a bit of luck, out of the raw stuff of planet Earth. Alliances and enemies, wealth and danger, power and penury. May you leave the greatest mark.
Lovely stuff. I love that little intro, it's quite funny. So yeah, this is us, and this is our randomly generated bit of land that we've spawned on. So these guys are our tribes, and let's just run through. They're our warriors and our scouts. So we can send them to auto-explore, or we can manually send them out over the hexagons to find out what's about. So we can go and find little secrets, little stashes of resources and materials. And as you can see here, if we find a certain amount of food, if these guys gather 20 food, then what will happen is we'll produce another one. So we'll have 2. And we can either keep them together as a doubled up force, or we can split them in half and send one off right and one off left. But essentially, yeah. So these are our first guys, and we can't do anything really at the moment with them except for move them and explore. But when we get to a certain point, and I think it's influence, yeah, so we need a minimum of 5 influence, which we'll gain from finding things in the world, and then we can build our first outpost, which will allow us to claim our first territory. But we'll get into that rather shortly, I imagine. So what we'll do is we'll pick a direction. So we're either going to go left or right. I don't think we can move over mountains. Nope. So we could go just straight down over there. But I think if we stay by the coast and explore, if we cross a river, then we lose all of our movement points, because I think there'll probably be a technology later on which will allow us to not do that. But that'll take them too long. So we'll probably go left and use as much as we can up, I guess. And maybe not, because there is an ocean. So probably should have just gone right. So that's a waste of our first turn. What we can do is we can also just turn on auto explore, and that'll do that for us instead. Now this is our this is our Empire tab here. So this will be a lot more important later on. We have fame points here, which will basically, the more fame points you have, it's basically the more score you have. And you earn fame points by completing goals at different stages of your civilization, so different eras. We're currently in a Neolithic, so we have these 3 things here to do. I believe there could possibly be more. Show deeds. Okay, so these are to complete throughout the entire game, so not just now. These are things that we want to do, but I think other empires can complete these. So it will be the first person to build a wonder will unlock that, not just us. So I think the more of these you have, the more chance you have of winning, essentially. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. So I think these are our 3 tasks for this era that we want to complete. So we need to have 5 population or units within our empire. We currently just have the 1. We also want to gain 10 science, which we'll do from finding little things around the area. and we want to hunt 5 animals. Those are our 3 tasks. Those are the things that we want to complete. And then we also need a star to pick our first culture. Now, one thing is, if you don't get that quick enough and you don't pick your culture, somebody else can take it. So say if there's a particular one that we want, we're going to go through these in a lot more detail later on, but say I want the Babylonians, then I want to get to that first star quickly, because these might be the best ones possible. This might be the best culture to have at the start, with your +2 science per research technologies, your astronomy house, and your Sabu Sa Katsi. I have no idea how to say that, I'm so sorry if you do. But you get these, obviously, personal units with each culture. So we want to get to that star as quickly as possible so that we have the first choice of civilization. But we don't know necessarily how we're going to get that star. We have to get one of these things to earn that first star. So it could be any one of these. It could be that we have 5 population. It could be that we have our knowledge star or a hunter star. So we're going to see what we can do. Probably the easiest one out of all of those will be to get our civilization. No, sorry, our technology. So the complete wrong thing there. So we want to get that 10 technology first. But ideally we'll just take whatever comes. And then we can either continue to get more fame points or pick a culture and move up to the next era. So we've ended our turn. As we've unlocked no other players, it's pretty quick. Nothing's going on, so we just instantly go to the next turn. And then we'll carry on moving these guys. And hopefully unlock a new area. Here we go.
Onward.
So now we've got to end our turn again, because there's not much else we can do. We'll just turn on auto explore for a second, and there we go. So we can now... We've unlocked something over here, which could just potentially be... Yeah, discoveries can be made by being the first army coming here. So we want to head there, and hopefully we'll unlock something interesting. Although it does just look like a resource. Nope.
Security and pleasure. Wonderful stuff.
So we found a
This simple
curiosity,
food.
wild berries providing 5+ food. So we've moved up that bar a little bit, getting just ever so closer to unlocking our next party. So we're probably going to send off auto explore again, so they make the decision for us, and then we'll end that turn. So we're off to a bit of a slow start.
If you learn nothing
Okay,
else,
something
you
respawned
could
up
learn
there,
what killed them.
and we've got 5 influence up there. 5 influence and 2 technology, so quite useful. So we could, with that, create our first outpost, which we might want to do, and I'm reckoning we're probably going to want to do it. So we've got 2 fields and some forests, and we want to try and keep relatively close to the coast. It recommends that we go here, but we can go wherever we like. Now I don't know how well this game actually, how closely related this is to civilization, because my ultimate goal will be to create quite a strong navy. And I don't know if I place it here, because you get quite a big area of influence with your cities, but I'm not 100% sure if I'll be able to build ships if I'm not next to the coast. So I'm not going to take that risk yet, as it's only my first settlement. So I'm going to put my first outpost down there, which will only take us a turn. And yeah, so here we go. So occasionally, just randomly, we'll get a little event that will happen. So when we click the end turn button, this will pop up. So it says, your scout comes to you breathless from exertion. Between gasps, he tells you that he's spied another tribe not far ahead. He leads you on, then after giving a stop signal, you drop to your bellies and crawl forward in the brush. Ahead, a young woman no more than 13 summers is leading a ceremony. Her audience, a dozen or so equally young or younger tribesmen. Many are crying, and when you see the bodies laid out, you understand they are in mourning. You know what you must do. So we can either gain a new army, growing tribe to next to hunting party. So we can get a new tribe, what we've got currently, a whole brand new one, next to our current one. Or if we choose withdraw, we can get 2+ land movement speed for the next. So it'll be 2+ land movement, so we'll have a bigger tile to move across for the next 5 turns. We're going to go with welcome, and we're going to take that extra party here, because 1, that fills up one of our stars a little bit, and 2, we can now scout a larger area. Instead of just having the bigger movement, we can now cover more ground as well. So they're going to go off and do their thing. They're going to pick up loads of these things, which is going to be really useful for us. They've already gained 10 food there, so nearly got another tribe already. So it's going very well. So yeah, we're going to go ahead, we're going to end that turn. We're going to get these guys to build that outpost down there. And they've unlocked some food there, which hopefully I can grab in a minute, or the one up there. So we've unlocked the Outpost of Petra. Now, because we don't have any technologies that allow us to gain anything from the ocean, we are losing these 2 tiles. However, that will come around later on. It's also going to take us 5 turns to build the outpost. So if you place it really strategically and get the right place, you will be able to build them in like 1 turn as quickly as possible. It's really quite good, but it depends where you do it. So we're going to go ahead and end that turn there and move forward just a little bit. There we go. So these guys are still automatically exploring. They've just gained 5 more food, and they're heading over to some more over there. So now we can send these guys up here to gain that. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave them on auto explore. No, sorry, they've already gained another tribe, so we're now up to 3. So we could keep them together, or we could send another one off to do their own thing, which we're probably going to do. The only reason we'll keep them together, or bring them together, is if we find an enemy that we need to take on. But we'll come into that relatively shortly, I imagine. So we're moving closer and closer to getting our first star up here, which is good. So now we have 3, so we've got quite a big force up here. So we definitely need to start splitting them up. So we'll turn off auto explore and make sure that we're getting them to do what we want them to do. But we could combine all of them together and have a huge force up there together. But hopefully we're going to get another one through here, and then we're going to get our first star as well. So there we go, we're about to get that, so it's now popped up just underneath. So we're going to get you guys to go there. We've unlocked our growth star. There we go. So now we could push and try and get some more fame by going for the knowledge star on hunter star, or we could pick our first culture. Now nobody's picked any cultures yet, so I'm thinking just for the moment we're going to try and get some more fame together. But I think as soon as the first one goes, we're probably going to move in and take another culture. Your tribe is ready to enter the ancient era whenever you decide to. So yeah, sometimes, well, I feel like we're going to get to that sometimes a little bit too early. Probably sometimes we'll get there a little bit late as well. Well, I guess we can't get there late really, can we? So yeah, let's split these guys off.
We move.
And they've nearly unlocked another unit as well. So we want to, ideally, if we can, we want to keep a couple units of 2s together as much as possible. So we'll probably put them on auto explore. We want to start running into some enemies, and it looks like we've got a new event. Violent pursuits. The last winter was especially harsh, the ground hard and the frost chilling to the bone. In the heart of the settlement, the tribe huddled close to share warmth through the coldest days, but for some it wasn't enough. Some needed to get their blood flowing, and they found a means through violent games, grappling, fighting, contests of strength and endurance. One contest, where opponents fight with hide-bound fists, has gained quite a following, to the point that the outpost's usual foraging missions are under threat. What is your say on this new pursuit? So this is something that can have quite a big effect on us. So if we encourage this new game, we're going to gain combat strength through our nomadic tribes, but we're going to lose 5 food for Petra, which means 5 growth. So probably not something we really want to do, as this only affects nomadic tribe units. So only these guys. So the moment we start to move on to different units, we lose this, but we're going to keep that -5 food. We can be bountiful on Petra and gain 5+ food for 10 turns, or we can reduce research costs by 25% of domestication, which is what we're going to go for. Now we can't research anything until we go to the new era. It is encouraging us to go to the next era, which we probably should do. But then it's picking which ones to go for, as there are a lot. I'm going to do one more turn of exploring, and then we'll decide. let's have a look. So they should go off and also explore, which they're doing. That keeps respawning there, which is a bit weird. And they're only getting food. I want to find science, is what I want to find. So let's try and... Okay, we found something there.
This way.
That's good. Keep them moving. Keep these guys moving relatively close. So we'll send them down here. Fortunately, we've crossed the river there. They're still an auto-explore, so we're going to end that turn.
Outpost means a first step into a new
So
territory.
the outpost is now finished.
And a new extension of
They're
your
up to
empire's
3.
power. But also
Can't
a
actually see it.
new vulnerability.
Culture chosen. The nomadic tribe reached the ancient era with the Harapans. Okay, so somebody has picked the first culture. So the Harapans are now gone. We can no longer pick the Harapans. How much that will affect us, I'm not sure.
We move.
Okay, so we found that. We've also found a sanctuary. So this is something that we can ransack. And there is a giant mammoth down there. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so we can ransack. Ransack allows us to destroy a target and gain resources. So the sanctuary has this peaceful symbol here, which means there shouldn't be any defense and we can just go ahead and ransack it. It's a rich, diverse habitat with plenty to sack. This is a breeding ground for peaceful wildlife who range the surrounding area. So what will happen is it will produce things like mammoths and deer that will go around the area, and generally they will provide something for us to attack. So we can go and attack that, and I think we can get a bit of money and a bit of resources from it. So we could ransack this and gain money from ransacking it, or we could let it spawn new creatures for us to kill. And we're probably going to ransack it, because if it's producing mammoths, they're quite strong. So ideally, we'll take the quickest route we can to that, which appears to be that. And we also want to start bringing our forces down, because one unit won't take a mammoth down on its own. So should have 4 coming in together, and hopefully we can gain a little bit of science from one of these things here. But I don't think we will. So I think we're going to pick our civilization now, actually. So let's go into this. Okay, so more have been taken. So 4 civilizations were taken. So I really should have done it earlier. So we've lost the Mycenaeans, the Harapans, and the Egyptians are all gone. Which leaves us with Zhao, Phoenicians, Olmecs, Hittites, Babylonians, and the Assyrians. All very, very good choices. So we've got Raid Masters, +1 land movement speed on unit, and 5 combat strength when ransacking an army, And we've got the Danu, +2 influence, +10 district fortification, and +1 combat strength. And we've got Assyrian Raiders, who are cavalry, 21 strength, and 6 move. I'm not sure what that is. I think, yeah, not 100% sure. Then we've got the Babylonians, brilliant philosophers. So they have 2+ science per research technologies on the capital. So the first city that they create, which will be their capital. The Astronomy House, which is a science quarters house. And then the Sabusar Kutsi, which are 22 in strength. So they're weaker than that cavalry, but they're not cavalry. So that probably is a little bit easier to produce. Got the Gagir cavalry again, +1 combat strength for all units. Pretty strong faction. Not 100% sure what that is. Awari outposts. Interesting. We've got the Olmecs, which produce javelin throwers, so we could get a ranged unit pretty early on, which could be very useful. +1 influence, which will allow us to create more outposts and grow our territory quicker. And then the Olmec head, which seems to be very food based. The Phoenicians. Now I think this is what we're going to go for, because it's going to give us our first naval unit, and a pretty good one at that. And it's also going to allow us to produce more money than everyone else, which is going to become very useful later on in the game. So if we build a haven, we'll get 2+ money from adjacent coastal waters, which we've already done. We've already positioned our first outpost adjacent to coastal water. So once we get the specific technologies that we need, we can really start making use of that. Replaces harbour, counts as farmers' quarters, but then again, I said we'll move into that a little bit later on. So yeah, we're going to go with the Phoenicians for now. We're going to adopt their technology. We're going to confirm that lovely stuff. So we've adopted that. So either now or next
the
turn.
challenges of a young civilization. It's hard keeping up with the neighbors when they have the wheel and you don't. Humankind learns quickly that everyone contributes. If you're terrified of wild animals, you can grow lentils or catch fish. Tribes settle towns. Towns develop markets, and markets begin the exchange of goods, services, and most important, rumors and hearsay. How appropriate to start with a market, now that you will be leading the original traveling salesman.
Lovely stuff. Sorry, drifting off the camera there. So there we go. So now we've moved on. Our tribesmen are no longer tribesmen. They are hunting parties filled with scouts. We've got our little village down here of Petra. And we now have some more options. So we can now evolve this outpost into our city. And what we can do with our city, which we're going to do because now we can start building some infrastructure and districts. So if we build a pottery workshop, it's going to take 50 construction. We are currently producing what looks like 6. So what might be better off is, although it takes a little bit longer, is if we make a maker's quarters, which is a construction district, say over here, we're going to up our construction by 5, which means we'll complete things a lot quicker. So we're probably going to go with that, and we're going to go and build it over this side. And then that will allow us to build other things a lot quicker. Now to build units we need construction, but we also need population. Population is grown with the food icon, food from farmers. We're producing 6 per turn. Yeah, it's going to take 5 turns to get our first pop, which will then allow us to create a unit if we want to. Or we can let that continue to grow, and we can use pops to assign them to districts, as you can see here, which will then boost the yields of how much we're producing. Now we've got our stability meter here, which I don't know a whole lot about, so this is fairly new to me as well. So stability changes over several turns. If a city receives a stability bonus or malus, it will take a few turns to reach the final equilibrium value. This delay allows you to find solutions when a city suffers an stability penalty. Sorry, I was going to say stability penalty, before it becomes a severe problem. So we're at 80% out of 100. Population assigned here will increase the stability of this city. Stability is currently at 80%, it will evolve every turn by 5% until it reaches 100. Expanding a city by adding districts or territories decreases its stability, so these actions are only available when the city's stability is sufficiently high. So I think it's telling us there that it's going up 5% per turn. So I think what we need to do is make sure that we're not constantly creating things that are going to rapidly reduce that. So I think if we get past this line we're going to have a negative effect. If we're above this line we're going to have a positive effect from that. So we'll see how that develops over time. We can also assign our own policy here, which will then automatically assign populations to what we want, but that doesn't really matter at the moment because we have none. So we're going to ignore that. We've got our construction quarters on the way. We've got no influence, so we can't look at producing any other outposts. So what we can do is continue to move towards this mammoth. We're going to get those guys to cross there. There's some horses here, which could be very useful for us later on. So what we'll probably want to do is produce an outpost around here somewhere, and we can get a hold of those horses, which are a natural resource. But until we have the domestication technology, we're not going to be able to do anything with those. And speaking of technologies, of course, we've gone up an era, which means we can now choose our first technology. In fact, domestication is one of the first ones on there. So we're probably going to go with that because it's the quickest one for us to produce. However, we do have other things like carpentry, which will allow us to clear forests. So say we didn't want the construction bonus from that forest, we could wipe it out and create a farm on it instead. Because by clearing the forest, it will mean that it produces food instead, as it will be Greenland. So then we could produce a farm and produce more food. But we probably don't want to do that much. We could also ask to build a lumberyard, which would increase our industry, so more construction from forest and woodland, and it would allow us to get archers, which would be very useful against most enemies. We could go for city defence, which will allow us to build very low level walls and allow us to garrison troops, as well as have warriors, so the first proper infantry that we could produce. We've also got calendar, which allow us to create artisans' quarters, so essentially I don't think we have any examples here. Not really. Maybe there. Possibly. But that does say forest. So it will be any kind of rocky elements we can then build on to produce money and construction. And then the granary, which will add 2+ food to farm. So we've got growth here, we've got construction, military, and then we've kind of got one in between, which is food, military, and the horses, which I think are construction. Yes, they are. So they do produce industry. Well, that might just be because there's a forest there, I'm not 100% sure. No, it says woodland. Okay. So yeah, I think a domestication or carpentry, either one, having the extra growth would mean that we can get populations on construction quicker, so we're going to go with that. Just means that we can start producing animal barns and getting some more food. And when we produce our outpost down here, we can get those horses pretty early on, which will be very useful. So as you can see here, we've ransacked this. So we've gained 10 gold from that, and I think that means that might be permanent, possibly. Not 100% sure how that works yet. Okay. So yeah, we're going to combine these guys, I think, together. We're going to create a 3-stack army, and then we're going to send them over here. There's 2 mammoths. Don't know if we're going to have to fight both. I didn't have to do this in the tutorial. It's going to be interesting. I really hope we don't have to fight both. Would 3 men be enough for 2 mammoths? I don't know.
Let's fight!
It's... your side is stronger overall, so we can just instantly resolve this, just like Total War. We can press instant resolve and we can just see what the computer deals us, or we can manually fight it. Now this is where this game starts to differ massively from Civilization, because you never had the option of manually fighting anything. You just clicked on your enemy and the computer would determine whether or not you won or lost and how bad it would be. So this, you can actually really take control of the battle. Well, I say really control, you have a little bit more control than normal. So you can deploy forces, obviously infantry at the front, and then you'd put some ranged behind. And high ground allows you to hit harder if you're attacking to low ground. So we want to keep the enemy off high ground and stay as many of ours on high ground if we can. But in this case, that is irrelevant and none of it matters. So we're going to end our deployment because everyone's where we want them to be, or at least as much as possible. And then we want to get our guys starting to attack this enemy. Now, both units will be attacked, but they've lost 15 and that's lost 20 something of its health. So we want to keep doing this. We could also make our men hold defensively, so we can get them to defend and give them a small defensive bonus. But ultimately it doesn't really matter here. And we can also attack the enemy from the flank and receive no damage to our unit. But obviously there are mountains there, so that's not going to be possible. So we've made all of our goes. Now the mammoth's going to make his. He's going to charge in. He's lost more health than he dealt. I think it's because we've got quite good defense, whereas he doesn't. So yeah, one more turn, we should finish him up there. There we go. So we've killed our first mammoth. Excellent stuff. So we gained 20 gold coins there. We lost 31% of our health, but we didn't lose any units, so we can heal them back up. No worries. And obviously we've got a second mammoth there as well. So lovely stuff. They're still auto-exploring, which I'm happy for them to do. And we're producing that there. Cost chosen. World deed unlocked by another empire. Ransack successful. So we have our society here. I'm not sure, there's nothing we can do with this at the moment. I'm not entirely sure how it works. So I'm gonna have to, I think we just have to kind of wait and see what happens with this, because I'm not 100% sure how this works yet. So we'll have a look in the future. Hopefully something will come up. But let's have a look at our tasks very quickly. So now we have 6, and we also need a lot more gold. It's out of 21 stars. So we have 6 challenges. Each of these are worth 3 stars. And we need 7 stars to unlock the next culture/era. And as you can see, we as we're moving up the era, it's different cultures. So we've got Romans, and we've got Greeks, Carthaginians, Celts. So it all changes very much, and we've got all of these different eras to move through. So let's have a look at what we've got. We've got expansionist stars. So we need to own 8 territories attached to any city. So when we build the district, the construction district, that is adding territory to our city. because that's building on that territory. Because as you can see, we currently own 1. So building something on a tile attached to our city will produce more territory. Also producing an outpost will claim that territory, and then an outpost can then build more districts alongside that as well, which you'll see later on. We've got this. I'm not even going to try and say that. So we need to reach a total of 600 influence. We've currently got 0, and I think we're producing something like 3 per turn. So that's going to take quite a long time. We need to build 6 districts within our empire. We need to have 12 population. We're currently at 7, so we're going to smash that in no time. We need to have 4 technologies, and we need to destroy 6 military units, which counts as another faction's units, not our own. So yeah, we're probably not going to achieve that one, but we're definitely going to achieve this and districts probably in no time, I imagine, and technologies. So we should be able to get a decent chunk of stars and fame before this one ends. So we acknowledge that we've ransacked that, acknowledge that, acknowledge that. Lovely stuff. So we can go ahead and we can end our turn here. Now they're moving, they're doing something, they're just running back and forward, so I'm going to turn them off auto explore for the next turn. They're not doing anything helpful. That mammoth didn't move.
Let's go.
Our guys will automatically heal over time, but not by a lot unless we put them in a city. And we still need a little bit more influence for our next outpost. I think we need 10 for the next one. Yes, we do. Now they've still got a little bit of movement left, so we'll send them down this side bit here. See if they can find anything. We'll go ahead and we'll attack this mammoth as well and see if we can bring him down. It's another 20 gold for our boys here, so it could be quite useful. As you can see, we've got some high ground up there, so we want to try and get up there and attack down, which should deal a lot more damage to our enemy. Yeah, it did. Dealt 36. I think we were dealing something like 20 before. I might have been wrong about hitting it in the flanks. Does look like I was wrong about that. No worries. So it's not a massive bonus, but as you can see, 36 and they did 24. So having the high ground really does make a difference. Just maybe not as much as we thought. Still useful though. So we'll attack with our strongest unit here, or attack from the high ground, I guess. Probably should lose less. There we go. Lovely. So we've won that battle again. Another 20 gold. 30% of our men lost. So we're probably going to take them back to the city now and get them all healed up, which is going to take 4 turns. And then they're going to be doing their thing, they're doing their thing, and we're still building here, which will take 9 more turns. But hopefully as we produce our next population, we can assign him into industry, which will hopefully give us an extra added little boost into that as well. So that would take 72 turns to complete, but it would add a permanent 5+ food to the city, but a little bit too long to complete to be worth doing. Number of territories attached, yep. Okay, so let's end our turn there. There's not anything else we can do. World Deed unlocked. Still not 100% sure what that is. I'm sure we're going to find out very soon though. So now we can move these guys again, bring them down here. We'll probably split off 2 of them and send them off in different directions. I don't think we actually need to bring them back to the city. They should heal up relatively quickly. A lot of rivers down here. We've got some coastal waters. Is that coastal? Yeah, it is. So we'll probably have coastal and then ocean. As you can see, it gets a bit darker. So I don't think we get anything from ocean blocks, but we've got a lot of coastal blocks there, so that's good for us. And I don't think there's anything else we can do, so we're going to go ahead and end again. Move up. We've got a little bit more influence. We're nearly at the stage where we can build another outpost, which is very, very useful. We'll send these guys on to auto explore unless they're going to go backwards. Never mind. Don't trust them. Carry on sending them forward.
Come over here.
Okay. So we've just discovered a natural wonder which has granted us 30 technology. So we've just instantly completed our technology research because of that, which is excellent. Absolutely brilliant there. So here we go. Pieces. So we've also found a natural resource down here as well, which is really, really good. And then we've got a discovery which can be made there. So we can move them guys to that discovery. Hopefully find something rather interesting. Now as well, you can also see we can't find food to produce more men. So now we have to create units, which is probably why we should maybe have tried to create a few more before moving into the next section. Map, it actually is. The map is huge, and obviously it goes all the way around. Very cool. Awesome. So we've got that technology. So now that means we've also unlocked 2 new technologies to research. But obviously, as you can see, they're very, very advanced. So not really worth looking at the minute. So now we're going to go for carpentry, so we can continue to boost our construction. Resource access. Okay, yep. So we can't build that because we haven't got any horses. Which is fine because we're going to build another outpost down there. And then hopefully we're going to connect the two, which I'll explain in a bit. And start producing horses from down there. So we're going to bring these guys up. We're going to send one of you
over this way.
Down there. One of you down there. And one of you over here. Going to keep these guys on the move as much as possible, because we still need to find a lot more technology and other useful things. They can still move, so we'll put them on auto explore. We'll send them down to those horses so they can build the outpost, and then we'll end the turn there. The Mech tribes reach the ancient era with the Olmecs. Okay, cool. If I put you on auto explore, will you go the right way? You will. Okay, happy with that. Happy for them to do that. I've given you guys an order, so you carry on going down there. They're doing their job. You have an assignment to go there. So we got 10 science and 8 influence for that. Very, very good. Very good stuff. And now we want to move them across these plains. There's a gemstone deposit down there. We want to continue to move these guys across here. And we've unlocked potentially something else there, but we don't know what that is. So that will be a strategic resource, not a discovery. So we're not going to gain anything from finding that, but it will just unlock whatever the next thing is. Probably be gemstones there. Not sure what it will be there. But speaking of resources, we actually haven't got any up here, which is not good for us. Not good at all. We want to find more if possible. But also not bad. We've got the horses. We can obviously move down here, coastally, build outposts and cities, and then gain access to these gemstones, which would be very good for our economy. So not necessarily the worst, but not the best either. And we just gained our first population.
And now you've met the
Byblos.
Mycenaeans. Let's hope relations go well.
So we've just
Their
met
forts
a new
are rather
faction.
formidable.
Diplomatic beginning. So now we can basically produce diplomacy with these guys, which I haven't done yet. So let's have a look at this. What are our options?
Yes, you have my attention.
Peace. Both empires are at peace, so I don't think it's something I can select. Yep, cool. War support, so we'll have support from our population, whether or not we want to go to war. About it's half and half, and it's the same for them, so we can actually see theirs. And theirs is going up +2 per turn because they're militarist, whereas ours is staying steady at 50. So we can also forbid trade. The Mycenaeans have just proposed to improve your relationship. What, though? What have they done? Empires can only trade luxury resources with each other. Instead, okay, so they could pick trade everything, forbid trade, or only trade luxury resources, which we may as well accept, I suppose.
Of course, we accept.
Keep them happy. Doesn't change that, though.
Truly spectacular.
That's bloody terrifying. So she's got 70 fame, we've only got 20, so we're not doing too hot on the old fame thing. If only, yeah. Not 100% sure on the fame and how it works, but we'll discover that a little bit later on. So these are the strength and the archetype things that I'm talking about. It doesn't look like we've got any. So I think that is just if somebody else wants to use my character. So that makes a little bit of sense. Trade, so we can pick what to trade there, but we've got nothing. And we've got relations, which we can probably figure out. Surprise war, love that. But it will give us a traitor badge, which will, I'm assuming, affect our relationships with other people. We could propose an alliance, or we could just declare war, but we need at least 80 war support. So we need to keep an eye on that, and make sure they don't get to 80. And if they do, that we're ready to attack them. Because one of our things is to kill 6 other persons' units. So, going to war, necessarily not a bad thing, but not ideal either. And we found their city of Mycenae, or Mycenae, I have no idea how to say that. So that's good. Looks like they also move at the same time as us, which is interesting. So, yeah, they're doing quite well. 15 fortification. So we'll keep an eye out. We'll just scout along their lands. We won't go in. We'll just have a look. But it's looking like they don't have too many units. And we've got a lot down here. So we'll keep you guys on auto explore.
The agrarian Harapans. You're as likely to meet their canals and farmers as their soldiers.
Okay, so these guys are apparently quite friendly. They've got runners, which are special units. So let's have a look at the seed.
1,000 welcomes.
So they're gaining no war support, which is the first thing I want to look at. Very, very good. I hope
you are one who keeps their word.
So we'll introduce ourselves.
As the leader of a great people, to greet
They've also
you
got 70.
in
Okay,
their
we're really
name.
not doing well on that front.
You come to me with a proposition. Let us see what is possible.
Don't think we're going to propose anything to this guy. Can't decide to trade everything. Could open borders, but we'll keep closed borders. And we'll sign a non-aggression pact.
I think we can undertake a common venture. Do you agree?
You must agree.
No.
This will never happen.
I'm not paying you for that.
As you see fit.
Not paying you for a non-aggression pact. Screw that. We'll go to war. We'll go to war, son. I'm happy with that. Okay, so what that means is there are probably no more discoveries down here. But we do know that we've got 2 guys to our south. So Mira and Mycenae. So we'll head back up north and secure this block here to make sure there's nothing going on. So we want ideally now to secure this land. So we want to secure some of these resources, like these gemstones. So we want an outpost to secure these horses, and then an outpost to secure these gemstones. But it's also going to push us quite close to enemy territory, so we want to keep an eye on that. And it marks what they've claimed. Oh, they've got 2 cities, and they've only got 1. Okay, so that's an outpost, that's a city. So they're quite advanced. Not advanced, but they're doing all right. So let's have a look in here. Still building. That's going to take 5 turns. We've put our population into growth, which is understandable because it's going to take a long time. But I want to move into construct. Oh god, okay, no, not if that's going to make everything negative. Yeah, we'll keep it on that then. That's fine. That is fine. Never mind. Okay, yep, leave it as it is. Building that, it'll only take a couple more turns. Building that should produce more construction for us anyway, so that's fine. What we want to do is get this outpost up. That's still got a thing up there, which I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't know why that's highlighted. Not going to surprise them with a war. Trade. Refused. Yeah. Okay, it's gone now. That's fine. Yep, we'll end our turn there. Somebody's just come into it very late, but I'm starting to think... New grievance available. See, I don't know what that is. News from the borders. Will you accept this offer? Battle is currently
Bloody
underway.
and smelly, aren't they? History may be changed by battles,
Oh, they're attacking us.
but that doesn't mean they're enjoyable.
Oh, they are attacking us. They've got potential to gain higher ground there. So we need to protect our flat. Oh god, this is literally... We may win, we may lose. I don't know. We're going to start sending these guys back a little bit. As we've now discovered enemies, I think we need to play a little bit more defensively and carefully. should ideally put it on the coast, shouldn't I? But I like the river. We're going to put it on the coast. I like coastal cities, especially as I'm planning on having a fairly strong navy. So I want to keep that. It's going to take 8 turns though. That's not good. That is not good. So what we can do is we can link the outpost to our main settlement, and that means anything produced in the outpost will go straight to the main settlement. So any construction they get here will add on to there. But we're not going to do that until we've built it up just a little bit, and so we can get more from it. And we've still got this thing which is going up a turn. I still don't understand what this does though, unless that is just the attachment. Not 100%. But hopefully we'll discover a little bit more on that later. So we have an attack underway, and we've got news
Things
from the borders.
change, even leaders and empires. I have a proposal for you.
This bears consideration.
Counter it.
I am interested by your proposal, but we need more.
Despite your good intentions, to accept so little would tarnish my glorious name.
So be it.
I didn't... What did I counter it with? Damn it. I don't think our relations are going very well, but I don't know how to check. I don't think there is a thing to check, is it? It's just whether or not they're getting war support or not. Or is it here? Aha, might be that. No, that's ideological. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to check that. I'm sure we'll figure it out. So, let's back out of this. So that is everything. We've just got a fight to have, which I don't think we can run away from. We can run away from it. Should we run away from it? I don't know. I say retreat, because it's really 50-50 at that point. So I think we should pull them back. Okay, it's probably not the best thing. Maybe perhaps having beaten them would have reduced their war support. Could have been potentially more useful. So I think we'll do one more turn and then we're going to end this first episode. So let's have a look. We've unlocked Carpentry, which very quickly. How do we do that? Culture chosen. New grievance. Oh, god damn it. They're chasing us. We need some support. How far away are you? Quite far. We need some support. Converting to Phoenicians in 4 turns. Interesting. Show civics. Okay. This has been greyed out as much as I play this game, so this hasn't come up yet. So we can now pick a civic. A first civic is available for you to vote on. Civics are made available based on the current game context and are voted or cancelled using influence. Legitimacy or founding myths. Okay. Okay, interesting. So natural right, we claim inherent dominion over the land and beasts. Divine mandate, our supremacy is ordained, for we are the chosen ones. So we can move either towards tradition or progress on this one, I think. So if +3 faith on territory, +5 influence on main plaza. So it's also going to have a secondary effect as well. Now we want to move towards progress because that means that we're going to get more science on our cities and outposts by 10%. But that's going to increase our faith, and I'm not sure what that is going to... That's going to incorporate later. Interesting. Either way, it's going to cost us 20 influence to enact one of these. So perhaps not that one. So we'll have a look at the other, legitimacy. Okay, a little bit more interesting. So same thing, same dial, I guess. So we've got either -50% on create outpost costs, which will head us towards faith. or minus 20% on attach outpost costs, minus 20% on absorb city costs. But that also pushes us towards science. So I think what we'll do is we'll go for the other one. Yeah, so we'll go for this one because that's going to give us a little bit more influence.
Why was this
so
even
we
a
can
question?
earn that back.
Let's keep it simple. We've been here. It's our place.
Yeah, cool. Happy with that. Yeah, very happy with that. So that place is still going to take 7 turns to build. So it's not producing a whole lot of construction. We're going to continue to try and get our reinforcements down there to help them out. We could also send these guys across, actually. They might get there quicker. Hopefully we can still retreat. Oh, no, I'm not 100% sure. I thought we had somebody else. Or was that them? That might have been them. So we've also just unlocked a curiosity, which annoyingly I didn't select another technology, because had I done, we would have possibly just moved a hell of a lot closer to it. That sucks. So we can unlock fishing now and masonry. Masonry will unlock stoneworks and giving us a hell of a lot of construction, and fishing will produce us more money and I'm assuming food. Yes. So very, very useful stuff. Public fountain, public hygiene level 1. So we'll go for calendar next, and then maybe city defense, as I'm sure one of these other factions will start producing warriors. So we don't want to be behind the curve. But we'll go for masonry first, or calendar, sorry, so that we can get there. So we can also have a look at the technology screen, but I don't like to jump ahead. But it can give you an idea of how to plan which technologies you want to go down. But this has been a very long episode, as is expected, because it's the first one, but I apologise for that. So we're going to go ahead and end it there before we end the turn. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm, only an hour and a half into this game maybe, and I'm really enjoying it. Haven't played a Civilization game in a very long time, but I can spend a lot of time playing through these. Very much enjoy it. We're kind of formulating a bit of a plan now. We're getting a bit of territory together, but there's a lot yet to reveal. I'm sure there'll probably be a war on the horizon with these guys, as they clearly don't like us very much.
Hail, sovereign.
And their war support is going up, but they're still hesitant. So yeah, could be worth maybe producing a non-aggression pact to stop them from attacking us constantly. But it should be interesting, and see what happens. We also need to try and get hold of some of these natural resources, but by building a camp here, it will put us very close to them, and will most likely mean we're getting attacked. So it should be interesting. We've also got quite a nice natural border up here, which is going to protect us from any civilizations north, although I don't think there will be any, because I think that is the map border. So we're kind of at the very top, which is a nice place to be, I think. Especially if we want naval domination. So we should be able to put a nice city up there and claim that bit of land at some point. But yep, can't claim any adjacent outposts because it's probably too far away. Not that we want to do that anyway, because we want to build up a few districts first and get some more resources, like those horses, before we do that. Or we can just produce this into a city and be even better off. But yeah, how long has the thing got? It's got 3 more turns, so it's nearly there, and we'll have a lot more. We've got a few buildings to produce as well. So pottery, again, gives us more influence, but as we've just adopted that +5 thing, so probably avoid that. That's going to take 29 turns, so we'll probably again avoid that. If we want archers, it's going to take us 13. So I think what we'll probably do is build another district, because we want to get our construction up as quickly as possible, so that we can start building these things a lot quicker, because 29 turns is just too long and we're never going to get there. So we'll probably build a couple more districts of things, probably 1 more construction and then 1 more farmers, although that will hopefully go down a fraction when we have unlocked this district. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end it there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you like the look of the game, it will be down in the description below. Cool. Oh, right. Oh, hang on. Oh. So we might not be able to pick that now. Or I'm hoping that's just going to come along later on. Interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay, that'd be worth looking at. Ideologies, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Like I said, check it down in the description below. If you've got any comments, suggestions, tips, or anything you want to know about this game, or if you've played it and you've got any suggestions, please let me know. If you know anything that I don't, or if I've questioned anything, then please let me know down below. I'll very much appreciate it. But otherwise, yeah, make sure to get down in those comments. Make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't already. Just supports the channel out, and it keeps you updated with everything that's going to be going on with it. But otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next episode. Don't worry, it will be a much shorter one, and hopefully be cut down a little bit more to get out some of the more boring parts. Otherwise, guys, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.